Break the chains, overcome your addictions. There are chains that bind the spirit hidden beneath the surface of your daily life. Chains not made of metal, but of habits, desires, and fleeting comforts. These chains are insidious, their weight unnoticed until it is too late. But you are not a slave to your desires, nor a prisoner to your weaknesses. The mind is a fortress, and it is in the heart of this fortress that true freedom resides. To break free from the addiction that grips you is not a mere act of will. It is a journey of the soul, a battle that must be fought with patience, wisdom, and discipline. The chains may seem unbreakable, but remember this: the strength to overcome them lies not in what you are, but in what you choose to become. The shackles of addiction. Understanding the bond. Addiction is not simply the act of indulging in a substance or behavior, it is the gradual erosion of your will, a quiet surrender of your autonomy. At first, the bond may seem light, like a soft rope that wraps itself around your wrist. You barely notice it, dismissing it as a mere distraction. But the moment you succumb to that first pull, the chain is forged, and each subsequent indulgence tightens it further. What once felt like a fleeting pleasure becomes a commanding force, dictating your actions, your thoughts, and your emotions. The mind, once free, is ensnared by the habits you allow to take root. Do not mistake the addiction for the act itself. The substance, the behavior, it is but a symptom. The root of addiction lies deeper, within your own inability to master your desires. It is not the craving for a drink or a high that binds you, but your failure to recognize that craving is a fleeting thought, one that, like all things, will pass if only you let it. It is the belief that you need it to feel whole, to escape, to survive. In reality, these cravings are merely illusions, temporary distractions from the true nature of your soul. Look inward, and you will see that the chains are not forged by the addiction itself, but by the story you tell yourself. The lie that you cannot live without it, the false comfort you find in surrendering to your impulses. The addiction becomes a false god, an idol you worship, without realizing that it is the very thing keeping you from the life you were meant to lead. But to understand this is to unlock the door to freedom. For if the chain was forged by your own mind, then it is your mind that has the power to unmake it. Addiction, in its most potent form, is a prison you have built with your own hands. The first step toward breaking free is to recognize that the chain is not an external force, it is an internal decision. You are the one who chose it, and you are the one who has the power to cast it aside. There is no magic in breaking addiction, no sudden epiphany that will make everything fall into place. It is a steady, deliberate effort to regain control of the mind. It begins with understanding that you are not weak for having fallen into this trap. You are human. And the most powerful thing any human can do is rise from their mistakes. Recognize the bond, and then resolve to break it. Every moment you spend in denial, every moment you allow yourself to remain shackled, is a moment stolen from the true life you could be living. The bond may feel unbreakable, but it is only as strong as you allow it to be. You hold the key to your freedom. The power of choice, breaking free, begins within. In the battle against addiction, the greatest weapon you possess is not your strength, nor your willpower, but your ability to choose. You are not a victim of your circumstances or your cravings. You are a sovereign being, with the ability to decide moment by moment who you will be and how you will live. The choices you make, however small they seem, define the path you walk, and it is through the power of these choices that you can break free from the chains that bind you. Understand this: every action you take is a choice. Even the act of surrendering to addiction is a choice. It may feel as though you are a puppet, helpless against the pull of your desires, but the truth is that the strings you think bind you are of your own making. Addiction thrives because we allow it to, because in our moments of weakness, we choose comfort over growth, escape over confrontation, indulgence over discipline. But the power to choose does not lie in the absence of temptation, it lies in the presence of it. To choose is to confront the temptation, to stand in the face of your desires and say, "I will not be ruled by you." It is the quiet, unspoken decision to take the harder path, to resist the fleeting satisfaction and seek the lasting peace that comes with mastering yourself. It is the ability to pause in the midst of a craving, to take a breath, and to remember that this moment does not define you. What defines you is your ability to rise above it, to make a conscious choice, to act in alignment with the person you strive to become. Each time you choose to step away from your addiction, you are building the strength of your character. You are forging your will not through force but through understanding. The more you choose to turn away from the thing that enslaves you, the easier it becomes. You are teaching your mind that it does not need to surrender to every urge, that it is capable of standing strong in the face of discomfort. This is the essence of true freedom, not the absence of desire, but the mastery over it. And it is not only in moments of temptation that your power of choice matters. It is in the choices you make every day, the thoughts you entertain, the environments you create, the habits you nurture. Freedom is built not in grand, dramatic gestures, but in the quiet, consistent decisions you make each and every moment. If you choose to surround yourself with negativity, with influences that reinforce your addiction, you are weakening your resolve. But if you choose to nourish your mind with wisdom, with strength, with self-love, you are choosing freedom. Understand this: freedom is not a distant goal to be attained, it is a daily practice. Every choice you make is a step toward either liberation or further enslavement. And while the road may be long and the temptations may feel insurmountable at times, remember that the power to change, to break the chains, lies within you. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the master of your own fate, and with every choice you carve out the life you desire. Unmasking the illusion, the lie of comfort. Comfort is the enemy of growth. It lures you in with its soft promises, whispering that you deserve a break, that you've worked hard enough, that just a moment you should surrender. And so you indulge. At first it seems harmless, a small reward, a temporary reprieve from the pressures of life. But comfort, in its quiet deception, holds a dark truth. It keeps you trapped in the very cycle you wish to escape. Addiction is nothing more than a false promise of comfort, a seductive lie that convinces you that peace is found in surrender, that the key to happiness lies in avoiding discomfort. But true comfort, the kind that nourishes the soul, is not born from indulgence. It is born from the courage to face your discomfort, to sit with your pain, to confront the very thing you seek to avoid. In avoiding discomfort, in seeking refuge in the temporary pleasures of addiction, you are not finding peace. You are merely delaying the inevitable, a reckoning with the truth that you must change. You are choosing to numb yourself, to silence the voice within that cries for growth, for transformation. The lie of comfort tells you that you are weak for feeling discomfort, for feeling the tension between what you desire and what you know is best for you. It tells you that your discomfort is to be avoided at all costs, that the easy path is the right path. But in truth, comfort is a thief. It robs you of the strength you could be cultivating, the resilience that comes from facing your fears, from embracing the struggle. Understand that true freedom lies in your ability to endure discomfort. It lies in your willingness to sit with the unease that comes when you break free from old habits, from familiar patterns. The pain of change is real, but it is not permanent. The discomfort you feel in the process of overcoming addiction is the price of your liberation. And like all discomforts, it will pass, leaving you stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. What is the alternative? To continue seeking comfort in the fleeting pleasures of addiction, to perpetuate the cycle that keeps you shackled, to avoid the discomfort of growth at the expense of your true potential. The path of addiction may promise temporary relief, but it leads to a life of mediocrity, of stagnation, of quiet despair. The comfort it offers is hollow, and in the end it offers nothing but more chains. If you seek freedom, you must unmask this illusion. You must learn to reject the false comfort that addiction offers comfort and instead embrace the discomfort that comes with change. You know that discomfort is not your enemy, it is your ally, your guide, and your teacher. It is the sign that you are on the right path, the path of growth, of true peace, of lasting fulfillment. The road to freedom is not easy, but it is the only road worth traveling. And the moment you stop seeking comfort is the moment you begin to break free. Embrace the struggle, growth in the face of pain. It is in struggle that the seeds of transformation are sown. The path to overcoming addiction is not one of smooth roads and easy victories, but of trials, setbacks, and moments of deep discomfort. The greatest mistake you can make is to see the struggle as a sign of weakness or failure. In reality, it is the very fire in which your soul is tempered. To resist the struggle is to resist your own evolution. It is in confronting the pain, in leaning into the discomfort, that you find the strength to grow beyond what you once were. The temptation to shy away from hardship is ever present. In moments of pain, the mind whispers to you, "This is too much. You cannot endure this. You should go back to what is familiar, to what is comfortable." But these are the lies of a mind afraid of change, afraid of becoming something greater than it was before. True strength is not born in moments of ease, it is forged in the furnace of adversity. And if you are to overcome the chains of addiction, you must learn to see the struggle as your ally, not your enemy. Growth does not happen in the absence of struggle. It happens because of it. Without the pain of overcoming temptation, without the challenge of reprogramming your mind, without the discomfort of choosing a better path in moments of weakness, you cannot evolve. The struggle is the process by which you shed your old self, your old habits, your old ways of thinking. It is the means by which you become the person you were always meant to be. But this struggle requires more than just endurance. It requires acceptance. To embrace the struggle is not to fight against it, but to surrender to the process of becoming. It is to understand that every setback, every failure, every moment of discomfort is not a sign that you are broken, but a sign that you are in the process of being made whole. Each challenge is an opportunity for growth, an invitation to dig deeper, to find the strength you did not know you had. The pain you feel is temporary. It may be intense, and it may seem never-ending in the moment, but like all things, it will pass. And when it does, you will emerge stronger, more resilient, more capable of standing firm in the face of future challenges. The struggle is not something to be avoided, it is something to be welcomed, for it is the crucible in which your character is refined. In every moment of pain, you have a choice to succumb to despair or to rise with renewed strength. Do not turn away from the struggle. Do not seek to numb the pain. Instead, embrace it. Understand that it is through this very struggle that you will find your freedom. And when you emerge on the other side, you will not only be free of addiction, but you will be the strongest version of yourself, unshakable, unbreakable, and whole. Mastering the mind, controlling desires, not being controlled. The mind is both your greatest ally and your most formidable adversary in the fight against addiction. It is the mind that creates the cravings, the desires, and the urges that you seek to resist. And yet it is the mind that holds the key to your freedom, the ability to choose a different path, to rise above your impulses. You are not a prisoner to your thoughts or emotions unless you allow yourself to be. To master your desires is not to eliminate them, it is to recognize them for what they are and to decide that they will not govern your actions. Addiction begins in the mind. It is born from the belief that you need something outside of yourself to feel complete, to find peace, or to escape the discontent within. But in truth, all desires are fleeting. They come and go like waves on the shore, and to act on them is to give them power over you. To be controlled by your desires is to live in constant turmoil, to be buffeted by every passing urge, every fleeting craving. But you have the power to break free. You have the power to observe your thoughts, to see them for what they are: temporary, often irrational, and never as urgent as they may seem in the moment. The key to mastery is awareness. The moment you begin to pay attention to your thoughts, to watch them without judgment, you create distance between yourself and the desire. You realize that you are not your cravings. You are not the voice that tells you to indulge. You are the observer, the one who can choose whether or not to act. This is the essence of self-mastery, the ability to recognize a thought, a feeling or a craving, and to decide consciously that it will not dictate your behavior. Desire is not inherently bad. It is natural to want things, to seek comfort, pleasure, or relief. But it is in the way you respond to those desires that you either find freedom or become enslaved. Desires are like children. They demand attention, they seek immediate gratification, but they do not understand what is truly best for you. It is your responsibility to guide them, to teach them discipline, to show them that there is greater peace in restraint than in indulgence. It takes practice to master the mind. It takes patience, persistence, and a willingness to sit with discomfort. When a craving arises, do not run from it. Do not numb it with another indulgence. Instead, sit with it, observe it, feel the tension, the pull, and then let it pass. You will find that cravings are like storms. They are intense at first, but they always pass. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. You will begin to notice that the desires that once controlled you no longer have the same power. They will lose their urgency, their hold on you. To master your mind is to reclaim your power. It is to recognize that you are not at the mercy of your impulses, but rather you are the one who decides what to act on. And when you take control of your mind, you take control of your life. Every decision you make from that point forward will be one of intention, not reaction. You will no longer be a slave to your desires, but a master of them. Freedom is found not in the absence of desire, but in the ability to choose whether or not to act on it. You are the creator of your reality, and through mastering your mind, you can break free from the chains that once held you captive. The first step: acknowledge the chains. The journey to freedom begins with a simple yet profound truth. You must first acknowledge the chains that bind you. Many live in denial, unaware of the invisible shackles that limit their lives, or worse, they pretend that they are not there at all. The mind can be a master of illusion, convincing you that what you are experiencing is not really an addiction, that it's not as bad as others claim, or that you can stop whenever you want. But to walk the path of true liberation, you must first accept the reality of your situation. No more excuses, no more distractions. You are where you are because of the choices you've made, and only by recognizing this can you begin to take responsibility for your future. Acknowledging the chains is not an act of weakness, but of strength. It requires courage to face the truth, to admit that something in your life has taken hold of you in a way that is no longer healthy or in alignment with who you truly are. The power of this step lies in its honesty. When you stop pretending, stop lying to yourself, and confront the addiction head-on, you reclaim the ability to change. Until you do this, you are merely playing a part in a story that someone else has written for you, a story of victimhood, of helplessness, of surrender. But that is not your story. You are the author of your own life. This acknowledgement is not about guilt or shame. It is about clarity. Addiction thrives in the shadows, in the spaces where we refuse to look. But when you shine the light of awareness on the truth, the power of the addiction diminishes. It is no longer an uncontrollable force. It is simply a habit that has been given far too much power. Recognizing this shifts your perspective. What was once a crippling and overwhelming force becomes something manageable, something that can be confronted and, over time, defeated. This step is about taking responsibility not for the past, but for the future. You are not here to dwell on your mistakes or to punish yourself for what you have done. You are here to acknowledge where you stand right now, in this moment, so that you can decide where you want to go from here. The chains are real, but they are not permanent. They are only as strong as your belief in them. And once you face them, Once you acknowledge their existence and the hold they have on you, you begin to weaken their grip. The moment you accept your current situation, you take the first step in breaking free. You no longer live in the lie of illusion, the myth of comfort, or the fantasy of control. You step into the truth of your own power. You now know what you are up against. And once you have seen the chains for what they are, you can begin the work of breaking them. There is no freedom without acknowledgement, no transformation without honesty. And there is no greater power than the power to face the truth, no matter how difficult or painful it may be. Patience and persistence. The slow road to freedom. In a world that values instant gratification, the road to overcoming addiction can seem unbearably slow. The desire for quick results, for immediate relief, is a powerful force, yet true transformation does not happen overnight. It is not the result of a single moment of willpower or a fleeting burst of motivation. It is the product of patience, persistence, and an unwavering commitment to the journey, no matter how long it takes. Patience is often misunderstood. It is not passivity or resignation. It is not waiting idly for change to come. Patience is the quiet strength to continue, step by step, even when the end seems far away. It is the willingness to endure the discomfort of change without seeking shortcuts. It is the ability to trust the process, even when results are not immediately visible. The work of breaking free from addiction is not glamorous. It is not the stuff of grand victories or dramatic moments. It is the slow, steady progress of each day, choosing to stay on the path even when it feels as though nothing is changing. The temptation to give up, to turn back to old habits, will come. In moments of weakness, you may wonder if the struggle is worth it, if the effort will ever pay off. But know this: every moment you choose to stay the course, every time you resist the pull of your old ways, you are making progress. Even when you cannot see it, the change is happening. Your resolve is strengthening. Your character is growing. And each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. This is where persistence becomes essential. It is not enough to simply be patient in moments of clarity or strength. True freedom requires the willingness to persist, to continue moving forward when the road gets difficult, when you encounter setbacks, or when the results seem distant. The key to persistence is understanding that the path to freedom is never linear. There will be times when you feel you are making progress, only to be met with a setback. There will be moments when you feel strong, only to be confronted by temptation once again. But these setbacks are not failures. They are part of the process. They are opportunities for growth for Stoicism. They are reinforcing your commitment to the journey. Patience and persistence are not traits that come naturally to most. They are cultivated through practice, through the decision to keep going when everything in you wants to stop. But the reward for this practice is worth the effort, for in the end it is not the instantaneous victories that define your success, but the quiet, consistent work that you put in every day. It is the dedication to your own freedom, to your own growth, that will carry you through the hardest moments. Remember that true freedom does not come with a single leap, it comes with 1,000 small steps. It is the daily act of choosing discipline over indulgence, of choosing strength over weakness, of choosing your future over your past. Patience allows you to endure the discomfort of change, and persistence ensures that you continue the journey even when it feels never-ending. Trust that every step, no matter how small, is taking you closer to the freedom you seek. The road may be long, but each moment you stay on it is a victory, and with each passing day you are becoming more the person you are meant to be. Redefining yourself, the power of a new identity. Addiction thrives on the identity you've created for yourself. It feeds on the belief that you are defined by your past choices, your habits, your weaknesses. The longer you carry the weight of this identity, the harder it becomes to break free. But true transformation begins the moment you choose to redefine who you are. To break free from addiction, you must first break free from the story you've been telling yourself. The narrative of addiction is seductive. It tells you that you are weak, that you are unworthy, that you are destined to struggle. It convinces you that your past mistakes define your future, that the chains you've worn for so long are unbreakable. But this is a lie. Your past does not determine your future, and the habits you've carried do not have to define you. You have the power to create a new story, a new identity, one that is not bound by your past, but empowered by your potential. The process of redefining yourself is not easy, but it is necessary. To change your behavior, you must first change the way you see yourself. If you continue to see yourself as someone who is addicted, someone who is weak, you will continue to live in the cycle of self-defeat. But if you begin to see yourself as strong, as capable, as someone worthy of freedom, you will begin to make decisions in alignment with that new identity. Your actions will shift, your thoughts will change, and your behavior will follow. The key to this transformation is consistency. The more you reinforce your new identity, the more it becomes a part of you. You must start to see yourself as someone who is free from addiction, as someone who is in control of their desires. Every time you make a choice that aligns with this new identity, whether it's resisting temptation, practicing self-discipline, or choosing growth over comfort, you are strengthening the foundation of your new self. It is not enough to simply say you are someone different, you must live it. You must embody it in every thought, every action, every moment. This new identity is not something that is given to you, it is something you create. It requires introspection, self-awareness, and a willingness to challenge old beliefs about yourself. You must examine the stories you've been telling yourself about your worth, your abilities, your limitations, and replace them with a new, empowering narrative. This is not about pretending to be someone you are not. It is about uncovering the truth of who you truly are beneath the layers of addiction, fear, and self-doubt. The power of discipline. Small choices, big change. Discipline is not a punishment. It is not a burden to bear, nor a restriction on your freedom. Discipline is the path to true freedom. It is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. Every small, consistent choice you make in favor of discipline is a step toward liberation from addiction. The simple, daily decisions to act in alignment with your values, even when it's hard, are the building blocks of a life of true fulfillment. Addiction thrives in chaos. It feeds off the unpredictability of your actions, the lack of consistency in your choices. It tempts you with moments of indulgence, promising you relief or comfort, only to leave you feeling empty, lost, and trapped. But discipline creates structure. It creates a foundation of consistency upon which you can build the life you desire. It does not promise instant gratification, but it guarantees long-term rewards, the peace of mind that comes with self-control, the pride that comes from choosing what is right over what is easy, the deep sense of freedom that arises from knowing you are the one in control. It is easy to fall into the trap of believing that discipline is only for the extraordinary, for the people who are naturally strong or capable. But this is another lie that addiction wants you to believe. Discipline is not a rare gift, it is a skill. And like any skill, it is developed through practice. It is the result of repeatedly making small, deliberate choices that align with your highest self. Every time you choose not to indulge in your addiction, not to give in to the craving, you are building your discipline. Every time you resist the urge to seek comfort in old habits, you are strengthening your ability to make choices that serve you, rather than ones that enslave you. The power of discipline lies in its ability to transform your daily life. It is not about making one grand, sweeping change. It is about making 1,000 small, intentional changes that accumulate over time. The small moments of resistance, the moments when you choose not to indulge, when you choose growth over comfort, add up. They compound, creating lasting change that is more profound than any fleeting pleasure an addiction could offer. But discipline is not always easy. There will be moments when it feels like the harder choice, when the temptation to slip back into old patterns is overwhelming. In those moments, remember this: every act of discipline, no matter how small, is a victory. It is a victory against the pull of addiction, a victory for your future, a victory for your true self. These small choices may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they add up to a new way of being. A life built on discipline is a life of freedom. It is the freedom to choose your path, to act in alignment with your values, to live with integrity, and to create a future that is not dictated by the past. To build discipline, you must first believe that you are capable of it. You must trust in your own ability to make the right choices, even when it's hard. And with each choice, you will grow stronger. The power of discipline is not in its difficulty, but in its consistency. It is not about being perfect, it is about showing up day after day and making the choice to live in alignment with your highest self. Through this consistent practice, you will break the chains of addiction and begin to build the life of freedom you are capable of living. Accountability and support, strength in unity. No one is meant to walk the path of transformation alone. While the internal work of overcoming addiction is deeply personal, it is also a journey that requires the strength and support of others. Accountability is not a crutch, but a vital tool, a reminder that you are not only responsible for your own growth, but also connected to a greater community of people who understand, who care, and who are walking alongside you. It is through the strength of unity that we find the courage to face our darkest moments and rise stronger than we ever thought possible. In addiction, isolation is a trap. It convinces you that you are the only one struggling, that your why is unique, and that no one could possibly understand. This is the lie that feeds the addiction, that keeps you locked in the cycle of secrecy, shame, and despair. But the truth is, you are never truly alone in your struggle. There are countless others who have faced or are facing the same battles, who know the pain, the temptation, and the long road to freedom. And they can offer you not only empathy, but also strength. Accountability is the bridge between isolation and connection. When you share your journey with others, when you allow them to witness your struggles and your victories, you invite the power of community into your life. You no longer carry the weight of your transformation alone. You allow others to hold you accountable to the person you want to become, to remind you when your strength falters, to celebrate your victories, no matter how small. In this shared experience, you find a well of strength and courage that can carry you through moments when you feel weak. Do not be afraid to reach out. Do not let pride or fear of judgment keep you isolated. The act of asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength, a recognition that you are committed to becoming your best self, and that you are willing to let others walk with you on this journey. Accountability and support are not just about keeping you on track, they are about reminding you of your worth, of your humanity, and of the fact that transformation is not a solitary endeavor, but a shared experience. Together we are stronger. Together we rise. The wisdom of acceptance, embracing the struggle. The road to freedom from addiction is not one of smooth sailing. It is a journey filled with challenges, setbacks, and moments of intense struggle. It is easy to fall into the trap of believing that overcoming addiction should be a clean, linear process, a sudden breakthrough that leads to instant liberation. But in reality, the process is messy, complicated, and often difficult. And here lies one of the most profound truths of transformation. The key to overcoming addiction lies not in resisting the struggle, but in embracing it. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It does not mean that you give up or that you allow addiction to win. Instead, it is the understanding that struggle is a natural part of the human experience. Pain, difficulty, and discomfort are inevitable. To fight against them is to fight against life itself. But to accept them is to make peace with the reality of the present moment. It is to understand that the road ahead will not always be easy, but that you have the strength to meet each challenge as it comes. Addiction, in its essence, is a form of escape. It is a way to avoid the discomfort of life, the pain, the boredom, the emptiness, the uncertainty. It promises you relief, but in doing so, it traps you in a cycle of avoidance and denial. The path to freedom requires you to stop running from discomfort, to stop seeking immediate relief, and instead to learn how to sit with the pain, the cravings, and the difficult emotions that arise. These feelings are not enemies, they are teachers. They are a part of the process of healing, of growth, of becoming the person you are meant to be. When you embrace the struggle, you free yourself from the fear of it. You no longer see your addiction as an undefeatable foe, you see it as a challenge that can be faced, piece by piece, day by day. You no longer see the cravings, the discomfort, or the temptation as threats, but as opportunities to grow stronger. It is through facing these moments head-on, without running or numbing them, that you develop resilience, clarity, and wisdom. This is where the wisdom of acceptance comes into play. It teaches you to let go of the need for perfection. You do not have to be flawless in your journey. You will stumble, you will fall, and you will make mistakes. But each time you rise again, you learn, you grow, and you become stronger. It is not about achieving some idealized version of yourself. It is about being present with who you are in each moment, accepting your flaws, and allowing them to guide you toward greater wisdom. Acceptance allows you to move forward with grace, even in the face of difficulty. It helps you to let go of the guilt and shame that often accompany addiction, and to understand that these feelings are not helpful. They only keep you tethered to the past, to the version of yourself you no longer wish to be. Instead of clinging to regret or self-blame, you choose to focus on the present moment, to act in accordance with your values, and to take each day as it comes. It is through acceptance that you find peace. You stop resisting the process, and in doing so, you allow yourself to grow in ways you never thought possible. You stop looking for shortcuts or quick fixes, and instead, you honor the slow, steady, and sometimes painful journey of transformation. In embracing the struggle, you discover that it is not something to be feared, but something to be welcomed as part of the process of becoming who you are meant to be. The strength of gratitude, finding light in the darkness. Gratitude is not just a feel-good practice or a fleeting sentiment. It is a powerful, transformative force that has the ability to shift your entire perspective, especially in the midst of struggle. When battling addiction, it may seem impossible to find anything to be thankful for. The weight of the challenge, the overwhelming nature of the fight, can cloud your ability to see the gifts that still exist in your life. But it is in these very moments of darkness that gratitude can be your guiding light. Gratitude is not about ignoring the pain or pretending that everything is perfect. It is not about denying the difficulty of the journey. Rather, it is about choosing to focus on what you have rather than what you lack. It is the decision to see beyond the immediate struggle and recognize the small blessings, the lessons, and the opportunities that lie even within hardship. When you practice gratitude, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start seeing yourself as a warrior, learning, growing, and moving towards something better. In addiction, there is often a deep sense of scarcity. The addiction convinces you that you are not enough, that you need something outside yourself to feel whole, to feel complete. It keeps you trapped in a cycle of desire and longing, always chasing the next high, the next moment of relief. But gratitude shifts this mindset. It reminds you that you are already enough. It invites you to appreciate the richness of your life as it is right now, even in the midst of struggle. In the practice of gratitude, you also find the strength to forgive yourself. Addiction often brings with it a great deal of shame, guilt, and self-blame. These emotions keep you anchored in the past, preventing you from moving forward. But when you choose gratitude, you choose to let go of these burdens. You choose to see yourself with compassion, to recognize that your mistakes do not define you, and to be grateful for the lessons they have taught you. In forgiving yourself, you open the door to healing and growth, and you create the space for a new, empowered version of yourself to emerge. Gratitude does not deny the reality of your pain, but it allows you to see beyond it. It shifts your focus from what is wrong to what is right. It empowers you to continue the fight, knowing that even in your darkest moments there is always something worth being thankful for. It is in this shift that you find the resilience to rise above addiction and embrace the possibility of a better future. Through gratitude, you are reminded that you are not alone in this battle, that every moment is an opportunity to choose strength, and that even in the face of adversity, there is always something to be grateful for. The power of patience, trusting the process. In a world that demands immediate results, patience often feels like a forgotten virtue. We live in an age of instant gratification, where everything is available at the touch of a button, where our desires can be satisfied without delay. But in the struggle to overcome addiction, patience is not just a virtue, it is the foundation upon which true transformation is built. The road to recovery is not fast, nor is it linear. It takes time. And in this time, you must learn to trust the process. Addiction thrives on urgency. It convinces you that you need immediate relief, that the pain of waiting is unbearable, that you must act now to avoid discomfort. But what addiction fails to tell you is that this rush is what keeps you trapped. The need for quick fixes, for instant pleasure, is what perpetuates the cycle. The path to freedom, however, requires the ability to delay gratification, to endure the discomfort, and to trust that the process of healing is unfolding exactly as it should. In these moments of challenge, remember that you are not rushing toward a destination, but evolving in the journey itself. Your worth is not determined by how quickly you overcome addiction, but by your commitment to the process. You do not need to rush. You do not need to compare yourself to others. You only need to keep moving forward one step at a time with patience and trust, in the knowledge that you are exactly where you need to be.